I'd like to call to order the November 5th, 2019 meeting of the Natural Resources Board. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we can have the roll call, please.
Ms. Callahan?
Present.
Ms. Lovell?
Present.
Mr. Stadelman?
Present.
Ms. Mosblick?
Present.
Mr. O'Neill?
Present.
Ms. Brothers?
Present.
Ms. Ware?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the next item, the approval of minutes.
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Okay.
Second. Good.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh,
Well, good. There were two of them, but I did one.
okay. Should we do the vote over again?
No.
Are we good? Okay. Okay, so under announcements, we have a new board member who is joining us, Ms. Lovell. If you don't mind just kind of introducing yourself a little bit, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Jessica Lovell, been a resident for 2 years in Sebastian. My work background has mostly been within the emergency management and project management fields in both public and private sectors. I'm excited to be a new board member and collectively work towards accomplishing our initiatives. So thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome on board.
Thank you so much. Okay, and it looks like for board member positions available, we still have one regular and one alternate. That's correct? Okay. The next item, we've got public input, if there is any. Okay, so we'll move on to new business. We've got the Christmas parade on Saturday, December 7th. Charles, I'm going to turn this over to you.
What we'd asked for in the last meeting was just some ideas. We're going to float some ideas on the float. And even though this is my idea for now, it's welcome to be changed. Whatever input that the board wants to add or the city itself, feel free to. It's just strictly, all it is, okay, there we go. All it is going to be basically is a flatbed trailer from the city that we already have, 2 seating areas for people that are on board to float. The presence under the live tree is basically clean water, fresh air, things that the Natural Resource Board does, and we're going to push sustainable Sebastian with the housing, the gingerbread housing, and just basically pushing a good, clean float, good, clean area, pushing the Natural Resource Board, as well as sustainable Sebastian initiatives that we have going, and just happy holidays to everybody involved. And if anybody wants to change input, feel free to.
Looks amazing, Charles.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Is there a way that we can tie in something for our sustainable Sebastian initiatives that we've had the greatest progress on? Is there a way to tie in like Glitter Quitter or anything related?
Oh, absolutely. The people that are sitting on it can also be maybe from somebody from Paradilla Brewery, somebody from Litter Quitter, somebody from the city. It could be anybody. We can also change the wording or add a sign. We can do anything. We have a machine here at our disposal that'll do most of our banner printing already. It's in your office, right? You can print out the signs pretty much, and without spending any money already.
I just got a new plotter that you can put like banner material through it, and if that we wanted to use some of what we allotted for supplies to buy a roll of that, because it's a little costly, but it'll do a lot of banner.
Okay. Because it's only, and then we can add in whatever we like to it as we go on, pushing whatever initiatives we have, big signs or big boxes. It has to be built on a platform so that everybody can see it, lighting, And
Just a question, like how big are you envisioning like the gingerbread house? I mean,
well, I have to figure
like,
out
how
on
what kind of
scale.
engineering skills do you have?
Well, the
Because-
gingerbread house will actually be made out of recycled brown paper.
Right.
So I'll make it at scale. There's like a golden rule type scale thing. Once I figure out how large my trailer is, I'll scale everything into the trailer, and it'll scale in. Like if this is 20 feet, this will be 4 feet or 5 feet tall. There's like a rule
Right,
for that.
okay.
It'll be close to that. And as soon as I figure out what the city will allow me for flatbed trailer, I'll be able to scale that all in, and the tree will be just donated from the nursery here that already works with us for Earth Day. Maybe I can get a couple of trees in there with a little Arbor Day sign on there, just so that we don't overweigh it. And then that's pretty much it. And then I don't want to make it too complicated. The gingerbread house is really made out of recycled brown paper and some piping, maybe. Super inexpensive. One roll of brown paper, and then some art and lighting.
Will that be sturdy enough?
It probably will never be enough. You know how it rolls, but I just wanted it real as simple as I can. I think I got 3 parts here that I can do real easy, and I didn't know who was going to be on board with the building too. So I want to try to keep it as simple as possible. As pushing the sustainable Sebastian, and trying to get the housing in there, trying to get the clean water, everything we're trying to do as far as native species plants too. So I want to make sure that tree isn't something that's, I'm going to try to get a regular pine tree that belongs here. So things like
Can we
that.
add a pelican to it?
We can. I was trying to think about that because that is what we're really pushing. We're trying to push Pelican Island as the tourism, the ecotourism, one leg of what Sebastian is sustaining itself on, because we all have to make a living here. So I have to figure out how to put a pelican on here somewhere. So that's a great idea. And I may be able to put it off this pole somewhere up high, so where everybody can see it. And I'm trying to keep the motorized part of it all down, so everything should be easily built and constructed out of materials we pretty much already have.
Will we need a generator for it?
We may need a generator. It depends. I had other ideas for this initially because we were supposed to promote multiple ideas. And the first idea I had was just to have people pulling it without the truck. And then the theme was to have us all pulling together. We can make big changes in the world. And then
Coronary.
I know, I was thinking about that, and then I didn't want to have to rely on a bunch of people and everybody having to be there because I needed a team to pull it. And then, so then I switched over to a mechanized. I'm going to try to get an electric vehicle or some type of hybrid vehicle that the city may have.
Nikki's
Or-
Prius.
Yeah, there we go. Yay! And then try to keep it as simple as possible without relying on too many people and using materials we already have at hand. This way, I want people to look at it and say, hey, look, that is something, without pushing too many themed ideas or anything.
Well, I'll speak to Public Works about the flatbed truck. We have a new director. And then I've asked about previously when the city's done floats, we can only get, use of the truck for a few days beforehand. So some of the things can be built ahead of time, but we can't put them on the flatbed until just a couple days before.
I was going to park the flatbed right at because where we take off at is the boat landing. So I was going to take up like a couple spaces there whenever I get the flatbed and just park it
build it
there
there.
and then start building right off of it right there. That was the idea. It shouldn't take long. This is really relatively simple. And then what I needed to know though is what are the rules for having companies donate things to this? Because I need an electric vehicle, and there's different like Dyer Chevrolet or Route 60 Hyundai that could give us an electric vehicle.
If we
but-
use the city's, it's a truck with a flatbed made onto it.
Okay. Well, see, I was trying to keep it all with the sustainable. I don't know if the truck is gas powered or I just want to know what the rules were for them giving me something to use for the parade. Is there any violations there? Can I go say, hey, look, Dyer Chevrolet, you do a lot with this anyhow. Would you like to put your car in the parade? Or they have a hybrid truck, and Route 60 Hyundai has an electric vehicle. if I can't get the truck from the city. I'm just wondering what the rules are on that. I don't want to violate any of the things I'm not supposed to violate anyhow.
I'll have to double check on
We can
that.
check into that, because I have a truck to pull it if it absolutely comes down to it, but I know the city has lots of them.
I'm confused. So this is going to be on a trailer
Yeah.
behind the city truck?
Correct.
Okay, I see. And the trailer is from the city as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, most everything has to come within what we already have available, is from my understanding, and I'm trying to reuse as much as we possibly can. And I'd like it all look all beat up anyhow. So, you know, some older chairs, you know, my gingerbread house could be made out of brown paper, so. And then the lighting, of course, there's lighting everywhere, I can find that.
It'd be neat if we made the decorations on the house and the tree, like out of
Yeah.
plastic bottles and the, you know, like.
There we go.
Yeah, recyclable items, repurposed, yeah.
Yep, and just to keep the idea of the Natural Resource Board, what we do, what are, you know, we're glad to be here, we're part of the community, we're trying to do sustainable Sebastian. That's really the idea I'd like these people to walk away with when they see us. I was gonna hook it up to the city council's electric golf carts. You had enough of them. Yeah, they won't, yeah, it would be a great idea. But the problem is I can't coordinate all the people, so I need just one truck. But it's an electric vehicle, part of this. I was joking, really, that was just to be funny.
Oh, okay. All right, I didn't know.
I know. But they're there, they're in front of us. They're there.
Of
We'd like
course,
to
we
hook up
should
to
all
them.
have electric vehicles.
But again,
The city should have all electric vehicles.
the idea is there for whatever anybody wants to add to it. And we got till December 7th, it looks like, to get it complete.
Well, that's a long time.
I think the signage is going to be important on it, because if, certainly you can know that the float's connected with this group, but to know what the tree represents, or, you know, to tie it in and have good signage right on the float will be important, so that as it's going by, people will make connections and understand our initiatives. So just having a tree doesn't really, to me, convey everything about what we're trying to convey.
Well, you're absolutely correct about that. And the reason why I put the little signs that you see here now is so that I can change them out to whatever we need to put there. But I wanted to get preliminary approval on something that's here, and that when you see it out there, it looks pretty much what's here. So like I have clean water here, as it could be anything. I could change this to you know, natural swales. It could be whatever we do. Absolutely, I thoroughly agree with you. The signage is going to be important. I just put those on there as a representation of there's going to be some type of signage there. It's going to say something, expect it.
If we, if you use the funds towards a roll of that banner fabric that'll feed through my new plotter, then there'll be a lot left over that we can use for the Earth Day event as well. So it'll get, and that would make a good size sign.
Yeah, and once I can figure out the dimensions of everything on scale, and it'll be based on the actual trailer they give me. It may be smaller than I'm thinking. So, but yeah, I think the signage is very important. We can push that across, and that's the only chance we really get next to Earth Day.
Is, in the parade, do people often hand things out? Sorry, I haven't been to one of the parades. I've only been here a couple of years.
Well, this year we're not going to hand out candy canes with plastic wrappers on them, I think.
Yeah, I think that that's a good idea. Not.
I just meant, like, if there is material that if you're walking along the way and it has to do with one of the programs, we could hand something out if someone wanted it.
Do you want to know what my real idea on that one was? Just an idea. It's like I said, I don't have the greatest ideas all the time, but it's just a thought. I was going to get with the Arbor Foundation people and hand out their little saplings and hand out little trees
That would
along
be great.
the whole way.
That is great.
They want
That
to
would be
hand
great.
out 1,000 trees. I figured we could use that as a jump-off point if I could coordinate it. But I know they already have a program, and I know they already have these trees available. They come as little bitty saplings. Last year we handed out or I was responsible for it, handed out candy canes, and I really didn't think about everybody just throwing down the plastic wrappers. Because again, I push personal responsibility in all this, because everything we do is great and all, but if everybody doesn't do their part, then I wasn't thinking of everybody taking off the plastic wrappers and just going, and
The saplings would be a great idea if we can get that done. So the next step is to find out what we can get from the city, is that correct? Is where we stand right now, what is available to us as far as the trailer and the truck?
Yeah.
which I don't foresee that being a problem. And then I can scale in, these aren't gonna scale, because they're gonna be whatever, the trees are gonna be
Right.
whatever.
Well, you gotta
and my
let us
gingerbread
know
is.
how much, labor you're gonna need for this and when, so.
Yeah. It shouldn't be too hard, really. That's gonna be a pole barn, basically. But now, that was another question I was having. How do I communicate with the board without violating the Sunshine State laws?
You send
Send it
anything to
to all
me,
of us.
and I
Just
can
s-
forward it out.
Yeah, or you just send it to the group, the whole group.
Okay, so keep sending it to you, because I remember I used to send it to Ms. Frazier, or now I send everything to Ms. Hagler, and you'll send it out to everybody else. Okay, all right. I'm
When you
just
set a
making sure
date that you
of
want to start building stuff, then I'll send out and we'll recruit. We do have one more meeting before then, but we need to have it, getting underway by then.
Yeah, this thing should be built by then. We should have like a final, looking at it. And these are supposed to be so everybody can see. It's gonna be lit. And it should be something special, at least for the first time out. We'll see. And simple.
I just wanted to add one thing. I want to tag on to what you were saying about the saplings. I love the idea, but it might be difficult, because remember how many kids there are along, or how many people? I mean, it's crazy how many people. It's really awesome. But if you don't get enough saplings, maybe just wildflower seeds.
Great idea. Packets
know.
of seeds, sure.
Seeds are good, yeah.
You
That'd be
know, I
almost
just-
easier than the saplings.
Or
Yeah,
those packets are like,
great idea.
I don't know.
Fantastic.
maybe somebody will donate that. I don't know.
Thank you, Ms. Frazier.
Do you believe that all of the budget that we agreed upon at our last meeting will be consumed for the construction, or will we have any leftover for purchase of said seeds? Because I'm in favor of purchasing seeds.
Oh, you like that?
I actually believe that Keeping Her Beautiful got a grant and received a lot of seeds from a corporate. Then they may still have those, so I'm gonna check with them on that.
Well, no, Ruth made a good point. I think we'll have most of everything we need, but I would just hate to be caught short on the last minute. Do we want to appropriate another $100 toward? I got $100 right now that I haven't spent any of it. You guys are okay with that? A consensus between everybody? This here is probably going to suck up most of my money,
Yeah, that's
because this
almost
is
the
going to be
part-
donated, and we already got these.
Like, that's almost the part, Charles, where I feel like, I don't know if we necessarily need I feel like the whole thing would be nice as is. But if we are short on money, or if we find that it would be better spent on the seeds instead of just materials to make a
I kinda like
gingerbread
the
house.
tree idea with just the tree and the gifts of clean beaches, clean water, clean river, healthy animals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just that, it's a little more, stark and pronounced maybe
Mm-hmm.
than
Yeah.
the gingerbread is kind of sweetens it up a little bit too much maybe, I think.
What do you guys think down there?
I'm sure we can get the use of trees, like potted, loaned,
I could fill a
loaned to
living
us,
tree. Yeah,
that we
absolutely.
would return.
Anything that would pull it. So we can go like.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking
No, how does it-
it would eliminate a lot of the engineering problems for us. That's for sure.
Oh,
you
well,
know?
this is not an
Yeah.
engineering
I'm concerned about the engineering issues because what if we have high winds?
Oh, well, that's.
Okay,
that's
what if
not-
we have high winds, and then we're like, or weather, what is our weather backup? Oops, we don't have
Very
one.
good, because
If
my
it rains,
paper.
you don't want a
ginger-
paper house.
We do really large boxes for the gifts, so they have really big signs that are easy to read and.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's, can we work on the getting the, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I like the idea of not having the gingerbread, because that's paper we're just gonna throw away afterwards too. So if we do the tree and packages, we can make
And it could be-
packages
it could
big
be
enough
a
to
live tree,
see.
obviously. Excellent, that we can plant somewhere, maybe even out here after we're done. You know, start a tradition or something.
So, I just had an idea, what about like the ticket booths? Are they owned by the city that they use like at the clam bake and everything, or? Because you could just borrow one of those ticket booths
Put it on there?
and put it on there, and then we could have something to put signs on.
Yeah.
We don't have to decorate it like a,
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that that's owned by the organization that runs those. We don't, I've never seen.
We don't run the clam bake, so the clam bake committee is the ones who have owned the ticket booths. I'm almost 100% positive on that. But I'm not saying we couldn't maybe borrow it, but
Yeah,
I'm just
borrow it.
saying that we don't own them, so.
How portable are they?
Well, how about this? How about this? Let's, can we just take a consensus? Just get a consensus about everybody who
Alright.
likes the house on it or not, and then we can get rid of it right now, and I don't have to go ask the Rotary Club for their house.
I don't mean to be devil's advocate. I'm
Absolutely.
worried about the construction and high winds, that's it.
Oh, I like that, and I like the part that we're just not wasting paper either, you know? I mean, we are trying to be sustainable. I can put some more trees on
It might be more
it.
effective as really what we are, because the gingerbread house might confuse them, and we can figure out a way to put the signage up still around the tree, maybe.
No, we can have the signage if we get rid of the gingerbread house, we'll have room to put big boxes, perhaps around the tree, with the signage that you can read on the side of the box.
Move the tree back a little bit like
Just center the tree, and then,
is flexible.
and you can also, drape something over the back of the chairs as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and then we'll put a sign on the
Yeah.
back there too, and put some bigger. So is there a consensus that we're going to get rid of the house?
I-
I
Okay,
think
so
that's-
then we
I
can
think
just
it's
go with
probably-
a few
I
more
think it-
trees
I
and
think
some
this-
bigger
this
box
close
presents.
this close into the event, I think it makes more sense to keep it simpler.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Good.
Okay,
All right, so we're closer to something that's going to look like this here with boxes and a couple more trees. All right, we're still a little close on there. Excellent. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
And do we have to vote on this? Okay, we're gonna just keep that then. And then we need volunteers.
Well, I'm happy to help you, Charles.
I'm happy to help. I'm not going to be here for about 2 weeks around Thanksgiving, but I can do a little bit just before the event.
All right, well, we'll first get the flatbed trailer, and then we'll line that up, and then I'll start, because really, this isn't gonna be too hard. We're just gonna have to build some big present boxes and make sure our
I have,
signage.
at school, we have like,
You keep saying
reams of
that.
copy paper,
gonna be too
which we
hard.
could try and use. They're like the boxes for, copy paper that I could bring
Oh,
home.
good
and-
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, just big, giant cardboard boxes with wrapping paper on
I
it.
think we can, I order enough from Amazon, I'm sorry, that I should be able to help with boxes.
We'll collect boxes.
And they have to be
Not so
visually,
eco-friendly.
you have to be able, they need to
I'll
be big,
recycle.
so that people standing on the side of the road can see what's on them. You know, because you want to push these different ideas of, you know,
Or be
for
able to
cleaning
stack a
fresh.
couple together
Yeah,
and then
there we
wrap
go.
them.
Wrap them in
Yeah.
a big sign.
Get some glow-in-the-dark paint on the side to.
Is the parade lit enough that,
No.
It's Like right when you first start,
No, we're gonna need some kind of light.
We should have lights on the float.
yeah,
But
there definitely will
LED
be
lighting
lights.
is cheap and it's not, it doesn't take a lot of power.
Right. Yep. Yeah, the lighting has definitely been an issue. We have these flashlights that we carry around with us last couple of parades. You're like, "Ee."
I think they have battery-operated LED
Yes.
lights that
Yep.
come on a string.
And then we'll get some nice big light that will, so that people can see it. And then there's always that giant fire truck that's behind us. It's very bright and loud the whole way. So it is. You guys will like it.
okay. So it sounds like we'll just kind of coordinate, with Kim to be able to say when you're building, when we can try and kind of help out there. Is
Yes.
there anything else that we specifically need for volunteers, or just kind of construction labor and the materials?
I was going to say, how about we all send schedule, and that way you can pick and say, here's the best date for all of us, and try to get together. So
All right.
we can all do that part.
we'll coordinate with Kim.
Right.
And then once we get our hands on the trailer, then we can really move on everything else. Maybe if somebody knows somebody at a local nursery would be better than what I'm gonna do. But if somebody already knows somebody, so, no, yeah, it's okay, it's
But
fine.
you're
I'll
looking
get the
for
trees.
specifically for types of pine trees, or does
Yeah,
it
or
matter?
live oaks, like these nurseries, they like to grow these nice live oaks in big giant pots, or types of palms that are local to the area, you know, that we can put together and, you know, push the native species.
Yes.
And I need something a little bigger that has some visual effect to it too, so I may have to
Gotta
get a
get it
couple.
on and off.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
don't have my, this was
Yeah,
visual effects
yeah.
here.
What are the
Are we gonna have
sizes?
a lift? Are we gonna have a high lift?
Well, I'm gonna have a truck, so once I get the truck with the trailer, I can go get the trees and just put them right, I'll have the nursery put them right on the trailer, right where they're gonna go, and we won't have to mess with it. So, and then I'm gonna pull the trailer over to the boat ramp place and just park it there until we're done. That's
Do we-
the plan.
Well, if it's just parked at the boat ramp, are those trees going to disappear overnight?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I've parked
I
stuff.
kind of feel like we need to scale this back.
No, this is
It would probably be
Sebastian.
better if it was assembled
Here.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
like in the police yard.
here or the compound.
I don't think we can
Okay,
rely
well,
on it.
wherever I park it, it doesn't matter. I can park it here just as easy. I was parking it
I also
there
don't
because I figured everything would just be there. Okay, all right, well, we'll park it here, but everything else will be handled. We won't handle none of the heavy stuff. And I can get that handled.
Okay,
I'm happy,
okay, so we're good?
Chairperson.
Okay. All right, so let's move to the next item. We've got Earth Day and Arbor Day celebration, Saturday, April 25th, 2020, from 9 to 4. We'll need to, oh, do we need to vote on that previous action item? No, we just needed to discuss it. Okay. So to try and divide up primary tasks among board members, we have quite a few new people, so we'll try and figure out how we can kind of set this up. I know that actually, you've been working on music since last year, yes?
I've been in touch with the musicians
Okay.
that were here last year.
So
yes.
you're still okay with being able to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Charles and I feel like we kind of split some of the duties in terms of sending out the materials to the vendors.
Ruth?
Oh, that's right. And,
last year.
yeah, and well, Ruth, you were in charge of volunteers last year. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
But she really helped at the end. Can I make one note before we move on that? What was struggling with me last year, other than my complete inability to get it done, was access to a computer. The security here stepped up the last couple of years. The public doesn't have access to the city computers. Like you can't just walk in. You know how I just walk in and say, "Hi, Miss Frazier, I'm here," and then we got the door up there. Well, you can't just walk in and get on one of the city's computers and do all this. So I need access, or whoever is doing this is going to have access when they can get there. You know what I'm saying? Like last year, I did it on your computer. Yeah, but yeah, I had to go do it on yours though.
Jeanette upstairs, she has, the city clerk's office has a computer for residents to use to
Isn't this all
research.
on Google Docs anyway?
It is, but some of it does,
Google Docs.
all of your emails have to go through the city. If you're sending out public stuff like that, for some reason it has to, like I can't just send out private emails to everybody that I want to. It has to come from the Natural Resource
No,
Board.
the NRB Google email was
Right.
added to the city emails.
Right.
So that everything that happens on it gets dumped to the general files. So it's still under the sunshine laws, as long as we're only using it for the Earth Day organization. So it's, even from home, you can,
I can log on from home.
anything you
and
do
just-
on that email.
I was
Is
having
public
trouble with it
knowledge,
last
it's
year, and
public
the only
record.
reason I got saved was because first my chairperson reminded me I had obligations, and then my friend at the other end jumped in.
Well,
So-
I think that maybe if we can try and figure out a way to, if you don't have easy access to a computer, that might not be the task for you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
We also have
There
new
might be other
members
things.
that may be interested in maintaining the contact with the vendors. It is an important job.
Yeah.
And they still do call me a lot. So that's why it's good it's on Google Docs. We can communicate, but I think we had maybe too many people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't clear on exactly what had been sent or not, so I resent things just to make sure it got out. But, you know, we have new members with different skill sets that might be interested, so.
I can certainly help you with the Google Docs and coordinating, just make sure I don't break any rules.
Okay. And I think we need to get out a notice, like I save the date to the vendors before the holidays. It's important because they all start
tomorrow.
booking their spring events.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. I know that in the springtime, it took me a lot of time to kind of organize the Google Docs and be able to coordinate with the vendors, which this spring I may not, I don't know that I can do that again this year, but I'd be happy to work with you.
Okay.
I'll be able to show you, the Google Docs is very easy and streamlined. If you feel comfortable with Google Docs, it just takes time to be able to put things in,
Sure.
label them, et cetera. But, okay, so if you don't mind doing that, that'd be
Be glad to.
fantastic. And then I can make sure I have the existing contact list from last year, so I'll go ahead and send that out. Do we have any flyer, artwork? Are we just basically sending out an email saying?
Just to save the date.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
will do that. I'll take care of that. What else did we need? So I know, Charles, I thought you were fantastic last year at making sure, like, you were there early, you
Great
were
MC.
communicating, you were telling people exactly
And
where
a
to go.
great
I thought that was
MC.
fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
great.
I'll MC this year. You
Yeah,
know,
no, I thought that
I'll-
worked out
I'll
really
do
well
that
last
again
year.
if nobody else doesn't want to do it. I already did it once. If somebody else wants to do it, feel free to.
I
But
think you wear it well.
I would absolutely need somebody else to do the vendor apps would be better because we have a full board now and somebody's better at it than I am. I would be much rather focus on something
Well, the
else.
vendor apps, I feel like it was, you know, one of the things that we struggled with last year was that we had the people who were selling the vendors who were selling items, and then you had the environmental organizations, and then you had the food vendors. And they were just all getting mixed up because it's all getting sent to the same email. So, I mean, it was almost easier for me to just be able to organize everything and just put it all in the same place. I know it would be nice to be able to split it, but I just don't know how we would be able to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because
So-
my food vendors canceled. I had somebody to do all 4 trucks, and then he calls me up and cancels, and then all the food vendors that we had were the second on the list. And yeah, it wasn't fun for me last year. That's what happened.
No, I think we're good. I think we'll be okay with the vendors. I think we've got that. Yeah, so I think we'll be okay there. Ruth, are you still able to possibly do volunteers as well
Yes,
this
and
weekend?
help out at the booth.
Awesome.
And I think as far as like setup in the morning, it was great that you were there early, but as more were coming all at once, it seemed that they're coming from different directions. It's almost helpful that we could divide up and be available in different corners or wherever they're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just physical presence during the setup, I think, is probably most important. Can anyone think of anything else that we might need?
Since we're not having the professional sound, we're not hiring professional sound this year, we don't have it in the budget, but the city has purchased a professional sound system.
Yeah.
Can
It's
I
really
get the
nice.
information on this? So,
Yep.
and does it come with a sound, somebody to operate it?
It's my understanding that the city staff was being trained on that. I had asked.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Kim.
That the city staff was being trained on that,
Oh, okay.
that usually attend the events.
Okay, so, and that the staff sound person would be available to us? Okay, okay. All right, and, so yeah, can you send me the specs just so I can see what we're dealing with?
And Nikki, I've never participated, so I'm obviously, will help with whatever I can. So if, Kathy, if you need help with Google Docs,
Okay.
I can help with that.
I'm new too, so I'll be.
You just want to pitch in, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect.
It really is pretty straightforward, and we could just kind of have a meeting where we can just kind of go over the documents. But you just have a spreadsheet where we just have to update as people say that they're coming or if they're not coming. Be able to put the vendor files into special folders so that Kim is able to organize and make sure that we have all the liability forms, et cetera, and put them in the correct spots. But it's, yeah. I mean, even if you guys want to kind of tag team and just like say, I'll take care of all the emails that are coming in, like Sunday through Tuesday, you take care of them Wednesday through, like, however you want to do it. Because last year, everyone was entering into the email and people were responding or not responding. So it was, so if there's some kind of coordination, I think it'll be great. Yeah.
They, mainly the vendors, they need constant communication. So once they send their forms in, you think, oh, well, we have their form. They want confirmation. Thank you, I received your form. They need that confirmation. Then they start calling and resending it to me. So then I put it back on there, and that's where it started getting messy. So
Yeah.
I think it just has to be constant communication. That's why it's like one of the most important jobs of the event is to keep that organized and straight. For some of the newer members like Donna and Jessica, we have activities that we do, and we work with other organizations to do some activities. So we need people on activities as well. Donna, maybe we
I'm
do
good with
something
that.
art. It'd be
Sure.
awesome, right?
Okay. I'll do the Gopher Turtle again if we have to, if we're doing
what?
it, if nobody else is doing
You
it.
had the idea about working with the Rotary about offering beer.
Yes.
And the Leisure Services Director didn't see an issue with that. So as far as the preparation, why don't you just stay on that task, and we'll see if we can get that to go forward.
Who do I got to get that to go forward through?
We'll work with Brian and Leisure Services about it.
I think the way it works is that Rotary purchases the insurance, because I spoke to them at their board. Rotary will purchase the beer, the insurance, and do all the logistics of that. What I really wanted to do, because it's Earth Day, the whole idea isn't just to serve beer to people. That's really not the idea. Because if I drink, I may have a half a glass, so I really don't drink personally. It's more like to show what can be done here that can be processed from, say, grains of the earth, or just an idea. This guy opened up a business on US 1 from an idea, Mash Monkey. They make beer there. People come there and spend money, and they make a living. That's part of what the earth is all about. It's a clean, sustainable way of making a living here. That's really what I was
They're
pushing.
litter quitter. So Pareidolia and Mash Monkeys are both litter quitter.
They're both litter
participants.
quitters.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that's part of the.
So I was wanting to push that, and plus I have the winery down in way down south.
Four beers.
Yeah, but they're going to come up too, and they want to put a booth in, and anything that anybody can do that's clean, environmentally friendly, business sustainability, from literally from the minute they plant the seed in the ground to the people coming to work at their businesses, what they drive, how they get there, how they're being paid. There's a lot to sustainability that goes along with just single-use plastics.
Charles, so speaking of single-use plastics, how are people going to be getting the samples? How are the people going to be drinking the beer?
How?
Is
We're
it
going
in
to try to do
reusable
paper
cups?
Out straight out of the tap. No, we're going to try to do with anything that can be recycled. We're going to try to stay away from the little red cup. You know, that plastic cup is just.
Is there any way we can do like a reusable cup that we might be able to offer, or that someone could offer?
There's a
I feel like we can't
control
do
issue there.
disposables.
Yeah, anything like that.
Green options.
Yeah.
Does the Rotary take care of carding people to make sure they're of age? How do we handle?
Well, they run the clam bake and
Yeah,
they run several other
to
large
get a
things right
wristband.
now. The Shrimp Fest that they already serve beer at,
Okay.
and before somebody can come up, they'll have some type of, I don't know if they use a bracelet or a stamp or
wristband,
something.
yeah.
And they have to buy it from them, and plus the control of just being in that area too. You're not just gonna walk, hey, I'm 18, I want a beer. You know, and it's not meant for people to come and get drunk all day long. That's really not the intention of that. It's just to add to get people interested in coming, to get them thinking a different way of how to make money in a sustainable way that's clean, that can last. These breweries that are here, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in the community to get set up. Business licensing, liquor licensing. The people that are working there, everybody needs to be on board with these people so they can make money. But they're not just the only businesses. You got all the diners that are here. I think they said there's 38 diners in the community redevelopment area.
It kind of leads us into our next thing, which is the sustainable Sebastian thing.
So do we need to, so I guess the conversation will continue about the.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess, I've not been to the Earth Day celebration since I've been here.
And we've never served beer there before.
Okay.
This is not necessary either, but.
No, I don't think it's necessary, and I'm a little leery of changing that, but that, we can put that aside for now. What is our real goal with the Earth Day celebration? I mean, can we come up with, say, 3 or 4 goals of this so that, you know, the activities we plan, the vendors we try to contact, so forth, revolve around what those goals are?
I think that one of the things with a lot of the, with the vendors in particular, I believe nearly all of them, if not all, are selling things that are repurposed or made from recycled goods or that type of thing. In terms of the environmental organizations, that is bringing in kind of a celebration of our local biodiversity, local organizations. How do you make a difference personally in trying to protect or kind of reverse damages, on the natural resources that we have here. And in terms of the food vendors, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, you know, quite a few last year, like Kona Ice has solar panels, so they're trying to use renewable energy sources. Some of them,
A coho.
are trying to, you know, bring in more natural kind of local businesses instead of these, you know, so kind of bringing awareness to some of the local food vendors as well.
There's some education component to awareness education, so at our own natural resources booth, and we also had the stormwater booth that the city of Sebastian has, waste management as well, help to educate in recycling at waste management, and we had a little display. We promoted the oyster bed as well. We had a scavenger hunt for youngsters to go and lots of questions and things for them to go and discover. So there's some awareness and education as part of the goal.
Okay.
It's also tied into the national movement of Earth Day.
Right.
This will be the 50th anniversary of it this year too. And for me, it's it's probably the second biggest reason why I'm here is for Earth Day. And so I didn't really know nothing about it myself. And it's a way to bring the city together, everybody get coordinated, push our sustainable Sebastian, and
Also, the arbor component is big.
yeah, there you go. That's right. It's also Arbor Day celebration. So we also have a lot of signages for the trees and the heritage trees and the champion trees and everything else that goes along with that.
So it's a requirement of our Tree City USA.
Okay.
And also, we partner with a lot of government organizations that provide education in their own areas. So we have Fish and Wildlife Service, local
Sebastian,
non-government
State
organizations.
Yeah.
And you're probably right, the beer probably isn't completely necessary, and they never did it before, and again, I brought that up, sounds like one of my ideas, and I'm only doing it mostly to bring awareness of what you can do, what you can make money with, other than setting up a steel mill, or something so dirty like a concrete plant, or it could be anything, you know, farming and grain raised. We don't really raise a lot of grains around here, but farming used to be a big component of Sebastian. It's gone away pretty much
I
largely.
think the point is very important, though. Like, does this really, if we bring this in, we already have, so we've kind of struggled with vendors being able to really try and communicate to them that this is, you know, an Earth Day celebration. Please don't bring single-use plastics, you know. And so if we're bringing in something that's going to encourage the opposite of what we're going for in terms of having, even if it's recyclable, or, I mean, it's still resources that are going into something that may not really be adding to the main focus of the event. I think that we need to kind of address that potentially.
Maybe you can do that in the distribution of materials to the vendors and such. We can update that material.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. Okay.
Well, the material that we're gonna have from the litter quitter program eventually is we're gonna have all the sustainable stuff. So like this should be the first year that we send that out with our original stuff, where here's a link to Webstrateur, store, and they have, 17 different types of compostable, biodegradable forks. Take your pick.
Yeah, well, I think that's an important part this year. Get our act together there. Okay, any other discussion for Earth Day?
Well, I think it'd be an opportunity to have a litter quitter booth.
They were, Keep of Our Beautiful was there. She had something, an emergency that she needed to leave halfway through, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I helped
Keep
her.
Indian River Beautiful will be championing it for us now.
Oh, right, they'll be
so.
able to move going forward, that's true.
So
That's
it will
true.
be.
So Curb will be there, kind of advertising that as well. Okay, so that's a good segue then. We'll go to our old business, so move on to sustainable, sorry, I didn't mean to
No, that's
cut you off. Okay, so move on to sustainable Sebastian, and we have Councilman Dodd here who would like to speak to us as well. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Is that on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Just on your cups, just aside from this, 2 months ago I was at the Brevard Zoo, and it really bothered me when I got a drink in a styrofoam cup with a plastic lid and a paper straw.
Nice.
I felt like that I was being scammed by somebody. So remember that when you do your Earth Day stuff, that you can't fool people when it comes to that kind of stuff. It was very disturbing. My grandkids, when they got it, the straw broke down and they wondered why they didn't have a real straw. So it didn't do anything. But now let's get back on. I want to thank you guys for letting me speak to you on the Sustainable Sebastian Initiative. I would like to have done this a long time ago. I've watched your meetings with a lot of interest as you've talked about Sustainable Sebastian for, I guess, about a year and a half now. And I kind of finally pushed the issue with the council and made the city manager bring it forward because I felt like it needed to be officially recognized by the council. I'm not here as a representative of the council because we can't do that on our own. However, I'm here as my own representative. I kind of look at this in a lot of ways. I don't want to preach to the choir, but I want the choir to recognize that you're at a point now where the congregation needs to know your songs. Okay, so what we need to do now is to think about how to implement Sustainable Sebastian. I've heard the term used quite often in the meeting tonight. And I think if I ask each of you, you would all have your own thoughts about what it means. But I think if I walked out into the community and asked, they wouldn't have the slightest idea what I'm talking about. All right, so since the early 1970s, I've seen so many initiatives in this arena die because the need to do something scientific runs right into the political spectrum and it all falls apart. You don't get the things done. You can't get carbon taken care of because the politicians don't want to take care of carbon. You can't do this stuff. I think I read my first book about this. It was called There Ain't No Such Thing as a Free Lunch in 1972. I tried this week to find that book and I can't find it anywhere. It's not anywhere on any of the internet things. It was a paperback. It was probably 150 words or 150 pages. And it was the very first time I saw something that said that if we don't straighten up, we're going to destroy ourselves with our economy. With our ecology. And there's been so many false starts at this. I would like to not see Sebastian have a false start with Sustainable Sebastian. And so I see there are challenges here that are going to come to bear that you're going to have to deal with. It's not good enough just to say we're going to do Sustainable Sebastian. The first thing we have to do is make sure that there's good public buy-in on that. And when I say public buy-in, I'm not talking about just the citizens of the city, I'm talking about the city staff and the city businesses. You're having some success with Litter Quitter right now, if I understand it correctly. Hopefully we can have some success with getting Litter Quitter people to climb the chain and quit using just paper straws and start using different things than that as they move up the line on Litter Quitter. Changes need to be meaningful. They need to be installed in small chunks so people can bite them off and so the economies don't kick in and the politics doesn't kick in. They need to be easily monitored when you do that. This is basic change management, and where you're at now is Sustainable Sebastian has belonged to this committee, to this board. It no longer belongs to the board. It now belongs to the community as a whole, and we have to treat it as a community effort as a whole. And then you have to stay within the standard city regulations and codes. Within 3 months, you're not going to be able to ban plastic straws. That's just the way the state's going to do it. You're not going to be able to ban plastic bags at grocery stores. You're not going to be able to do that kind of stuff. We're going to have to figure out a way to convince the grocery stores that reusable bags are better for them. We're going to have to convince businesses that not using plastic straws provides them an economic benefit, and we do that through education and through training as the process goes as the bear. I would kind of like to see Sustainable Sebastian right along with the grouches on the sign on our city as it comes in. I'd like people to think, when they hear Sustainable Sebastian, I'd like for them to think automatically they know what that means. So I don't know those old grouches, never met them, but I know they're here. I've seen a bunch of them in the last 3 weeks. Okay? And the Sustainable Sebastian should be the same way. It's a great thing, it happens, but you know what it means. It means trying to make the environment better, and it means trying to use less things that cause us to find microplastics 2,500 feet down in the Arctic. Okay, now, I think the comment that I heard Charles make earlier about the behavior, just making plastic straws doesn't cause the problem. What people do with that plastic straw when they're finished with it is a bigger piece of the problem than the straw itself is. So it becomes educational in nature as well. So the way to do this is to make it like a campaign. Sustainable Sebastian needs to be almost like a campaign or a new product launch. If you were Hershey's and you wanted to create a new candy bar, you wouldn't make it and deliver it to people before you launched the product. Create a logo. Make that logo based on the city's logo so that it can coexist with the city's logo when you do that. Build some brochures, high-level brochures. Stay with action statements in the brochures. I got an example that I put down. Limit need to use fertilizer by promoting Florida natural landscape. Action, limit use of fertilizer. How? Very straightforward section. Make the brochure like that so that people can read it and see at a high level. It's very difficult sometimes when you're in the trees and you're smart enough to be in the trees to recognize that most other people can't see the trees. And if you talk about trees, you confuse them. So you first have to start at 2,000 feet and you have to drill down. And so as that process goes, then you start building symbolic material. I'd like to see, let's say, for example, a window sticker, 8x10, 8x12 window sticker that a business can put on their front window that says, I support Sustainable Sebastian with the logo on it, without asking them to do anything. You just basically ask them to display the sticker. They don't have to be a Litter Quitter member to do that. Just display the sticker, because it begins an awareness campaign for people as they walk up and down the street when they do that. Earth Day. Earth Day should be all about Sustainable Sebastian. The Earth Day celebration should have Sustainable Sebastian on your tent on the overhead. Every piece of paper you pass out should say Sustainable Sebastian on it. Your shirt should say Sustainable Sebastian on them. We can get the city to buy some little bags that people can use as reusable shopping bags that say Sustainable Sebastian on them. I would certainly help with that process, funding that through the city council.
How about some reusable drinks that the city council can have that says Sustainable Sebastian on it?
Excuse me?
Some reusable cups that say Sustainable Sebastian that you guys can put
I was
right
actually,
here at your
I was actually
meeting.
thinking about the beer thing, and then I realized maybe the beer thing's not such a good idea, but maybe reusable cups. You don't give someone a bracelet. When they buy the beer pad, you give them, they buy a reusable cup that says Sustainable Sebastian on it.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And that's how, and no beer is put in anything other than those cups. Now, I'm not going to try to talk you into every beer, because I don't drink either, so it doesn't really matter to me. As long as they sell Coke, I'm okay.
Yep.
But when you go through that process, the objective of all of these things needs to be to get the buy-in. You have to have buy-in from the public. You have to have buy-in from the city staff, because I'm going to tell you, they're going to be involved intricately in all of this. The city staff is, not just these two people. Every single person in the city staff is going to be involved in it ultimately. Because one of the other things, if you watch the council meeting when we did that resolution that I brought up, was that the city has to be the first perpetrator of Sustainable Sebastian. So what I'm going to be looking for are revised and I'm not asking you guys to do this, because I'm gonna talk in a minute about that, but what I'm gonna be looking for are revised procedures that says when we buy a car, we find out whether we can use an electric car or not. When we buy paper, we make sure we have to buy recycled paper and so forth when it goes through that process. Very important to make sure that the city staff, the business leaders and so forth buy in. I've got this in highlights in my notes, but very highly desirable public-private initiatives, and that's what Sustainable Sebastian is. It's a public-private initiative. Very desirable public-private initiatives have failed dramatically because of no buy-in or because of political kickback. You get political kickback because of no buy-in. People respond to you negatively politically because they don't buy into what you're doing. I'm sure you've all seen this happen in the last 4 months if you read Nextdoor. Any of those things out there, okay? Very specific actions that I think can be taken. The steps need to be, as I said, need to be manageable. They need to be small enough that people can do them, that people could devote funds to them. Businesses don't have a problem spending a dime, they have a problem spending a dollar. And if you ask them to spend a dime now and a dime later and a dime later, it may get to $1, but over time, they've seen the benefit of spending $1. The city also, you have to deal with the city the same way. The city is a business. It's talking to these guys about what they can do is the same thing as talking to Captain Hirams about what they can do. It's still a business, and it has to operate like a business. Like I'm talking about at Earth Day, the city purchasing some stuff to pass out, reusable shopping bags as it goes like that, something like that. Placing more recyclable stations in the city parks on the city waterfront that are there. Trying to work with local businesses on the business recycle program. A lot of them don't do it because it costs money. They have to pay a fee to recycle. I think it's kind of crazy, but there's no way to get around that because that's not our program. But the thing that has to happen is we have to work with businesses on showing them what the value to that recycling program is to them. Some type of an incentive, some way to get them to do that. Landscaping is a good example. I think that the Natural Resources Board can build a brochure that lays out what Florida Friendly is. And I've actually seen a really good one that came from, you saw that, that had not only what Florida Friendly plants were, but it also had in it layouts. Here's various different layouts for sizes of areas you want to plant. Get with local nurseries. I know that a couple of local nurseries, when I was on the Plains Zoning Commission years ago, volunteered to stock the plants if we would promote them. They're just not going to stock them if they can't sell them. So get with a couple local nurseries, create a plant list, all right? That plant list that you create then can be picked up by the city staff and possibly built into a revision of the city landscape code, something I've been trying to do for 12 years and have not been able to get done because it runs into politics. It runs into dollars when it runs into that. The city staff can identify many areas in the land development code and in their procedures where Sustainable Sebastian doesn't fit without modifications, and then they can take the process of moving forward with trying to identify those changes. It is not something that the Natural Resources Board can do. It's not within your charter to do that kind of stuff. And then, so if you try to get involved in that, you'll run right smack dab into that political brick wall. That'll make it difficult to get this done. So you have to be careful when you move through that process. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover on this. I think it's an extremely important program. Sustainable Sebastian is very important for the city. It's the kind of thing that can set us apart from our neighbors. I will tell you that many places, using the herbicide thing as an example, we have cities around us that have passed legislation in their city council to do away with the use of glyphosate. They're spraying dicot, the first cousin of Agent Orange, because their council said they can't spray glyphosate. That's not what we need to do in Sebastian.
They're both related to Agent Orange. Aren't
they both related to Agent Orange?
Well, I know, but I'm telling you, dicot is more the first
It's
cousin.
no- it's no bad.
Glyphosate is the second cousin of Agent Orange. All I'm saying is that we need to make sure we don't run into that. There's something I learned a long time ago from a couple of pretty smart engineers when I was working at a nuclear power plant, and they told me you don't jump to cause. What jumping to cause is solving the wrong problem because it's the most expedient thing you can do. You don't jump to cause. Sustainable Sebastian is a great example where we could jump to cause without planning it out, without rolling it out through a planned process, without getting complete buy-in, and without making a detailed definition, without taking a lot of action. It's going to be too easy for it not to actually succeed. And we have too much at stake here as far as the economy is concerned, the ecology is concerned, as far as the city is concerned, to let it not get done because we don't try to do it the correct way. I wish I could have had this conversation with you guys a year ago, but until it came to the council, it was impossible to do that. So, what I'm asking you to do is to just think where you are. Think about trying to develop a rollout program. Think about the educational things that we need to do. Think about trying to make sure that we carry this thing forward through a buy-in phase. Use the next Earth Day as the kickoff. Make Earth Day of next year the true kickoff for Sustainable Sebastian. Plan all of the things that roll around that, the brochure developments, the conversations. Get the Chamber of Commerce involved. The city can do that. Maybe you go to the Chamber of Commerce at one of their meetings and do a presentation with your new brochure. Okay? Do some things like that that get that buy-in to take place before you try to do any real detailed specific actions that begin to build those brick walls that ultimately will stop it from happening. I've seen this happen too often. I don't think you guys are all really knowledgeable in what you do, and you understand where you are in this process. I'm thinking like a politician. All I want to see is an executive summary, and I just want to understand it from that. And I understand that the people out there haven't seen that yet. So they have a hard time, and they're going to have a very hard time understanding where you are because you understand that and they don't. So just make sure that we can do that as it goes forward. The city staff will champion this thing through the city. They'll take care of making sure that the right people in the city are involved, that the changes that have to go through the city as far as land development code or procedures are done through the right process, that the right committees, planning zoning will have to be involved in some things, Parks and Rec will have to be involved in some things. They'll make sure all that is done the correct way. Let them champion that process through for you as it goes through there. So, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, so we can come up with a brochure for Sustainable Sebastian. It's gonna be separate from our Indian River litter clear stuff. Completely get money for this?
If you guys put together a plan, here's the key. Everything has to be a plan. I mean, I spent, I think I'm probably a lot older than most of you. I spent a long time in management, executive management positions and so forth, and I will tell you, if you don't have a written plan, you don't execute. So there has to be a launch plan. How are we going to launch Sustainable Sebastian? Now, I've seen in your minutes tonight, in your brochure, you've got some specifics in there under your task. What's the next task? What you don't have is a launch plan. How are you going to launch it? Put a cost on that. Let Lisa bring it to me. I'll take it to the council. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, that's the way it should work, is that goes that way.
So you're
Or
essentially.
she'll take it to Paul Carlisle, who I will meet with, and he'll scream at me, and then we'll take it to the council.
So kind of create the awareness, the education. I feel like we have to have two prongs where we have kind of the public, the PR part of this, but then also kind of just the bulleted, very kind of quick and dirty, this is what we want to do type of thing. Okay.
You have to be able to make sure that the people, that when it comes to push, and there's many of examples that are happening right now where people just don't understand why actions were taken and they get violently opposed to it. And that's going to happen to this program. I'm telling I've just seen this happen so many times, especially when you talk about things that are related to the ecology and to governments wanting to take action on saving the ecology, then all of a sudden you get into the doubters. Oh, we didn't cause it, we did cause it, we didn't this, we didn't do that. You get into all that stuff. And so the thing you have to do first is educate the populace, the businesses, the city staff, on what the objective of Sustainable Sebastian is. Get them to buy that objective. You guys have done that. I've watched you do it over the last year and a half. When it was first brought out, there were people up here who didn't buy into it right away. Okay, I've seen the meetings where you've gone through that learning process yourselves. So think, you're at day one now, and you want to expand that. You now have 27,000 people in your room, and you have to get them to buy into Sustainable Sebastian. Now, you won't need that many, but that's what you've really got, because the committees, the boards that advise the council, and the council have to represent all 27,000 people here. Not 10 people or 20 people or 100 people, but all 27,000. And there will be people who will argue about the validity and the need for this if you can't get that buy-in. The process goes through.
It almost sounds like this needs some branding, like you would with any other company. It needs to be branded. You have to be on target and
create a brand. The brand is Sustainable Sebastian. Create a logo. Put it on some hats. I know a guy that does a great job of putting stuff on hats. Put it on some hats. Put it on some shirts.
you want it to have its own legs, basically.
At Earth Day, pass this stuff out like it's candy.
Right.
Okay, and start that process moving forward. Get the businesses that don't want to be litter quitters, get them to at least agree to display the sign that says, "We support Sustainable Sebastian." Don't even require that they be litter quitters. Just get them to post a sign in there. Try to get as much awareness as possible to the program, because at some point in time it's going to cost some money. We're going to say at some point in time, and I can't tell you when, and I can't tell you anything about it because I don't know how the council will do this and how it all. There's going to be a point in time where we're going to say to a developer, you have to plant all Florida native plants, or you can't put more than 50% grass in a yard. There's going to be some point in time where we're going to be saying that to people. That's where we get the money and the politics to come at you. That's where that happens. So there can't be any ambiguity about why we're doing this stuff. There has to be a lot of buy-in in the process. I can't tell you that we'll ever get to the point where we say you can't put more than 50% grass. I can say that we might get to the point where we provide incentives to a developer not to do that. Okay? Because you really can't say to people, you can't plant grass. If you do, the Florida legislature will make you illegal. So, okay. And I hope I didn't I'm not trying to blow up your plans. I'm just trying to say, I'm just trying to do what I can do to try to get across the process that needs to take place to make this work. I've just seen it happen too often.
I think your comments are right on target.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I think your comments are right on target, and I think this goes back to my question about coming up with what is our goal of Earth Day. If it's going to be rolling out Sustainable Sebastian, then everything needs to revolve around that. Mm-hmm. So I think your comments are right on point, and I thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything?
No, but it's funny because when we first started this program, we talked about having a Sustainable Sebastian sticker. We ended up we tried to roll into stuff that was already existing. That's just why we ended up with Litter Quitter, and we looked at Surf Rider as well. But yeah, I think having a Sustainable Sebastian sticker that's separate from the Litter Quitter, the Indian River Litter Quitter, is a great idea.
Okay.
And the branding.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else from me? No? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so, I mean, I guess we'll go through the list. We've got the litter quitter, that's you, Brian? Litter quitter presentation and update, or is that?
Kim's gonna do you're gonna do the presentation, right? Oh, I thought you had it on the. I have it here. Hey, I thought you had it on the computer. I didn't know I was gonna do it. But I can definitely, we have been making progress, so.
First of all, I did meet with the Keep Inner Beautiful today. With their board, because we had to have their board's blessing to go forward with it, because they're going to be hosting our the online reporting system. They're going to be hosting that for us. So what we're going to do through the Lagoon Friendly Lawns program and Litter Quitter is we're going to be routing traffic to their website, where they're going to be managing it through their website. And of course, as we see this being something that is going to spread past Sebastian into Vero Beach and the county, I think that's a great way to go, with them championing that for us. So that was great news. So because we have some new members, and I think our last presentation on it was maybe 8 months ago, 9 months ago, just a little quick refresher on Litter Quitter program as a Sustainable Sebastian initiative. First of all, what is Litter Quitter? So it was started by Keep Brevard Beautiful and the Brevard Zoo, and there are a lot of programs out there. This is one that's kind of like a very light version. It's easy to get started on the lowest tier. So focused on eliminating single-use plastics, encouraging reusable items, composting, sustainable food sourcing, and there's benefits for the members. They have the window sticker. They get promotion on the Litter Quitter website. They get discounts on the products from the distributors like Aardvark, Eco Products, and Edward Don and Company. And they get whenever they have the environmental, like we have our Earth Day, Brevard's version of that. They have a few different ones. All Litter Quitter businesses get invited to it and get represented at it. And Keep Indoor Beautiful will be doing the same thing to promote those businesses. So how does it work? So it has different components. So it has the partners. For us, that's Keep Indoor Beautiful at this point, and us, and the Natural Resources Board. And there's marketing materials and promoting on social media through those partners. And then there's the vendors. And then the businesses. And the volunteers, that's the important part. We've had one training event. We're going to have to hold more training events in this area. It was recommended after meeting with Caitlin Palmer last week, Brian and I had a meeting with her, that out of each round, you get like a few great ones that stick and are really consistent. So you have to keep holding these frequently in the beginning till you build that core of volunteers. Curb would also like to host a volunteer event for their side of the county, for the Vero Beach side of the county, and recruit from there too. So how does the program work? Basically, first level is the bronze, and you can get that just by implementing the Ask First Straw policy, which is easy. They call it the low-hanging fruit. Like anyone can get into that. There's training materials for the servers to get them on board with it. It's a very difficult thing when you're serving to get out of the habit of sticking that straw in every drink. But and then there's the switch to the sustainable straw option as well, and just encouraging them to bring their own reusable straw. And that's all you need to meet a bronze standard, any one of those things. So then for silver, it's a switching to plastic bags, encouraging customers to bring their own reusable bags, like they offer discounts on takeout orders if they bring their own bags. Switch plastic utensils to sustainable option. So the silver's focused on the takeout options mainly. And then for gold, there's the getting rid of those styrofoam cups, switching it to go to sustainable, recycled, encouraging customers to bring their own reusable. Again, they offer discounts, or for people to bring back using those reusable type containers that they can bring back next time when they order. And then the deck netting for waterside businesses, which I think will be a big one for us because we have a lot of waterfront food businesses. And so for the partners, Brevard Zoo and Keep Brevard Beautiful, they aren't going to be helping, that can be implementing this for us or buying our products, but they have been a huge part in planning this and handing us the entire manual to run this program. And then Keep Indoor Beautiful is going to be our champion and then, of course, the city. And then the current vendors that they're partnered with that offer discounts are Hoffmaster, the Eco Products, Dawn, and Cisco. And so we're working on the comparison sheets for all of those products, and then some other lines of products that we've discovered online that have free shipping and offer good prices in small batches. That's the key, because a lot of them offer great prices in huge batches that a lot of our businesses won't be able to buy into. And then here are some of the current businesses that currently participate in the program. In our area, a Coho, which is just fantastic. All of their takeout items are sustainable, and they're all takeout business. Captain Hiram's, so we have both of our local breweries, Mash Monkeys, Periodola, and the No Name Sports Bar. That's it. Any questions for the new members on that?
We get a copy of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, email it to you. I have the training manual too, which, people got about 6 months ago, so we'll send it back out again.
Send it out again.
Yeah, absolutely.
The main thing with this is, our first round of volunteers, it's been a while since we've reached out to them. So I think, we should reach out to them soon, right? And just a tickler, hello, we're here. I don't know.
I did reach out to everyone
Okay.
about a month ago.
Okay. All right. And then we should probably schedule another one eventually too. I don't know when we would do that.
I think the next meeting will set up some date before the holidays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Curb at the point where they are able to hit the ground running, or if we have all these volunteers and they are able to go out to businesses, approach the business owners or whoever they're speaking with, is Curb able to, at this point, take those businesses, get the information, be able to check up on them, et cetera, or
We can't do anything until they get that link to the internet reporting system, so that all the volunteers can log in and get assigned.
They have to be
pick up
able
their
to
assignments.
input the data, so once that's set up down there, then.
And
they'll
it's
be able-
between KBB and Curb.
Okay, do we have a timeline for that?
Since we just got Curb's blessing today,
Yeah.
it may be within the month,
Okay.
hoping.
I would like to ask if it would be possible to go with them when they do this, so that we learn how they approach businesses. I mean, this is a tricky situation that you're trying to win their approval, and it might help us, because we're all volunteers too.
We go over it in the training class. We go over it in detail. They have a great training PowerPoint and
Little
manual.
script and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe we should do like some role play scenarios
Yes.
at the end of the training session, just to get people used to the speaking on it. Yeah.
The main thing with, you wanna have this percolating up from people who attend restaurants, who are going out there in the community. These are the people that are gonna be asking, to the vendors, hey, are you a member of Litter Quitter? Are you familiar with Sustainable Sebastian? Oh, you're not? Let me tell you a little bit about it, and then open the door that way.
Do we have Sustainable Sebastian as a focus on our website? I have not visited since it has been updated.
There's a button for it, but nothing under it. I'm going to make it I was just talking to him today. It needs to be the front page. It needs to be
We're
the
gonna have
home
a
page,
new
the
logo
star
with
of the
city-
home page, not a
With the city's
button.
logo on it, right? We're gonna have a Sustainable Sebastian logo with
Right.
the city logo?
And the resolution needs to be a part of that as well.
And I think we should try to come up with a one-page too, just a one-page, like, this is what Sustainable Sebastian is, so, you can give it to a business owner, it's not gonna take him an hour to go through it, he can look at it in 20 minutes, and,
Well, that comes back to the brochure that Councilman Dodd was discussing.
I wonder for that, is it worth it to collect information from the public in terms of, because I think that when it comes down to it, Sustainable Sebastian, for me at least, I mean, I moved here because of what we have around us. And if that gets degraded, I'm out of here with my boys. So, that part of the reason I'm here is because I love the lagoon, I love being near the ocean, I St. Sebastian, like all the parks that we have here, it's particularly unique. And so I wonder if we could, if it's worth collecting data or having some kind of a survey where we go out into the general public and say, why do you live here? What are some of the things you appreciate this area? I don't know if that's worth our time. If it's not, I mean, I don't. It's just something I thought of that. I wanna bring up for
May I make
discussion.
a suggestion? Because if you recall in the last meeting, maybe it was the meeting before, I don't recall. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We're going to be changing or updating our comprehensive plan. And I've expressed that we want to bring to you the portion that is conservation and the coastal management portion. And of course, we'll want to incorporate in it sustainable Sebastian and what that means, and how the policies that will keep us moving forward so it doesn't get lost, as Councilman Dodd has stated. So, I mean, we can tailor these workshops so that, I mean, we're going to invite the public, and we can tailor it so that these big ticket items are answered, such as what you're suggesting. And this is just a suggestion, if you want to roll it into that, because then the public can be here and say, what does sustainable Sebastian mean to you? And kind of answer those questions for us so that we can roll them more into a policy. It's just a suggestion. I believe, as I'm looking at my calendar and looking at when we may be doing that, it's going to be probably your March 3rd meeting. So it's just a suggestion. If you want to have a separate one, that's completely up to you all, but.
I'll do a survey if you want.
Well, I mean, if the public is coming in, I mean, it kind of makes sense that maybe, kill two birds with one stone type of thing. If we think it's useful, I mean, I just thought it might go to kind of the education and awareness aspect to this, that, we kind of have to build an argument for why this is important to the area and to the city. And so if we can have data or backing that up, that basically says, this percent of people or a large number of people are coming here because of this. I don't know, am I the only, I mean, we have a survey here. Would you guys agree that you live here in part because of the resources that are here, or probably a biased sample? We are definitely a biased sample.
Yeah. We're a biased sample, but, I think the natural beauty of Sebastian area speaks for itself. I mean, does it, is it upsetting when you see plastic on the side of the road? That's probably why most of us are here. Yeah, but I don't know. Who's gonna put the survey together? Charles, are you gonna do this?
I did it before.
After you get the.
I'm not understanding your goal in getting the survey, so I think that if we're trying to move forward in a direction, we're already like jumping down into details on the different things that were litter quitter or curb or whatever. We're jumping into details, and we had some traction. There's good reason that we started thinking this way. But I think to the councilman's point, can we just start with our launch plan? Can we name these things that we're going to do and start working on these? I think that a lot of people may have a problem understanding sustainability, and so you're asking the questions, but I think we can help put that framework for them. And so we just need to, like, you're coming up with the marketing plan, so you want the marketing, go out and say, hey, do you like Coke or Pepsi or whatever, why are you here, what do you like? But I think we at heart know what that is, and that we can make that step to start putting together the launch plan and include our marketing pieces and why it's important to do this.
I think the date, the Earth Day launch date is realistic and perfectly timed, so. But it means we have to get something together.
Can I ask the board something? Is anybody here a branding expert by chance? Like, none of these people exist.
I'm not a branding expert, but I've been involved in a lot of branding activities with banks I've worked for.
There's a whole scientific process to this, and before I jump out and
I'm not an expert, but I mean, I've done this before. I've been involved with this before.
Yeah, because I don't know if it would behoove for us to look at more of an expert level to roll this out at the most, as best as it can be, because, again, we all have a lot of ideas. Councilman Dodd has kind of cemented us a little bit tonight, I think. And our launch on Earth Day with Sustainable Sebastian, everything on the float is Sustainable Sebastian. Would it behoove us to bring in a branding expert, somebody who instead of all of us taking shots in the dark, doing our best, I mean, bring in somebody who knows what they're doing from the get-go?
I would love to, I just don't think we have the budget for it.
I don't know
Is
what
there
this
someone
person
on
would charge
staff
us.
who helped come up with this?
It's
Like,
not cheap.
We have a logo, no, but even the logo for City of
Mrs.
I
Hager
have
Sebastian.
a
is
lot
our-
of graphics
Is our brand.
experience.
Well, a brand is
I
more
used to
than
do it
just,
for Disney,
it's
so-
everything. It's the mission statement. It's
It's
it's our push. It's your drive. It's the nails in the box. It's what people go to you for. And like Mr. Councilman Dodd was saying, we really can make it a difference. Sustainable Sebastian.
Well,
People think of it that way.
Perhaps before the next meeting, I could get to Kim maybe a list of what I think a branding expert would come in and tell us to do. I mean, if you've got
That'd be
somebody to
good.
do it and we can get the budget, I'm happy to turn this over. I'm not trying to.
No, I'm not
point
an
it.
expert at this. I just come up
But,
with.
I mean, I think we need to take it step by step, and I can come up with that pathway
There we
if
go.
that would be helpful.
So how about, would you like, I'm sorry, Council, Chairperson Mosblett, can we, I can't remember your name. 'cause you're
Kathy
so-
Brothers.
Kathy Brothers, could we make her the point person on the branding of this? Like we normally have a point person for Earth Day, we had a point person.
Sure.
If you-
May I interrupt and suggest perhaps that we have an agenda item for the next meeting, which sounds like a launch plan, and we go through and list the items that will be in our launch plan, and then we start to work each of those items, one of which can be branding.
Sounds good?
I think that's a great idea.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
It's just a request
that
to have
something we would
this
have to make a
as
motion on?
an agenda.
I think you can put that on your own agenda. We can just put that on the agenda for next meeting or something. I don't know if we have to do a motion.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Excuse me. This young lady, I believe, needs a couple of votes. Is that correct? I want to be cognizant of that, too. I appreciate you all coming.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we were doing what she needed to.
Okay. Okay, so, I think we're good then? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Is there an action item that we're requiring where I see action item as a tab on here? There seems to be lots of proposed action items, and I didn't know if we needed to do something with that. I look at that as a lot of specifics that we're trying to come up with, and maybe we need to take a step back and do our launch plan.
Well, and again, because I've been in planning for so long, I have some thoughts and ideas on that. And Ruth, I think you're on the right track with this. There's already things that we're kind of moving on and moving towards that we certainly can utilize as part of this, you know, the initiation of Sustainable Sebastian, certainly the Litter Quitters program, you know, which Brian and Kim have worked so hard on, I think is a great start. We have our green infrastructure mapping program, which I really want to bring to you all and show you and get your input. We're going to be asking you to give your recommendations and your advice very strongly on our element of the comp plan, the environmental element of it. We want you to look at the tree protection ordinance and application. We have things for you lined up this year. So, and I'm very excited about it, and I think that's part of it all. But again, with the comp plan, in it can be a goal, an objective stating, you know, that you will come up with the 5-year action plan for Sustainable Sebastian. You hear what I'm saying? And once that's like in the comp plan, then we got to do it. So that kind of lines you up so that this is a real thing. And I would encourage you all, like I was showing Councilman Dodd some things, and I know that Kim and I have shared a lot of the resources too. Well, it died on me already, but if you look at like City of Satellite Beach, they have a pretty cool website, and their little logo is kind of neat. I'm not sure if they hired anybody professional or if it was just something that, you know, people kind of came up with in thinking about it. If you want to launch it at Earth Day, maybe you have a contest. Maybe you throw up 3 different kind of logos and let people vote on it. I don't know. That's just a thought. But I mean, and get them engaged in what you're doing and why you're doing this. So I think you're right. I think that there's a lot of, maybe you all select the top things you want to do for, you know, every single, I think the six
Bullet points.
Thank you. That you've decided. You decide that's what we're going to do this year. These are the 6 things we're going to concentrate on, and one of them be the launch program or whatever, however you want to call it. I'm just trying to keep it simple and manageable for you all so that it doesn't fail. And that a lot of this we're already kind of doing internally.
Yeah.
And, you know, with your support and your advice and your recommendations, then we can all be successful together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think, yeah, it almost serves as kind of an advertisement of existing programs, that kind of getting the word out there that these are things that the city is doing for us already as citizens, yeah.
Well, and with your input and with your support. I mean, again, like the Litter Quitters is awesome. I know that you guys already promote the IFAS Florida Friendly Landscape Program. You've already put that together, and I mean, that's a great program. What was the other thing I was thinking of that you guys do? Well, the green infrastructure is what I had come up with. Well, of course, our septic to sewer program, I don't think any of you are really involved in it, but I'll be presenting to the Indian River Lagoon Council at their meeting this Friday from 9:30 to 12:30. I'm one of many presenters. It'll be a 5-minute, here's what Sebastian's doing with your money. Thank you very much. But, you know, that's something we do, and that ties directly into our water quality. And so, I mean, just things like that. And then, I'm sorry, Nikki, you brought up this really great, the county stormwater educators thoughts.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
that's very cool. That's awesome.
And she wants to do them, I think one of the locations was right there by Riverview Park. So I feel like that type of initiative, we could kind of tie into Earth Day celebration as well. I wonder if we might even be able to do something, because I feel like we have, like at Riverside, we've got the solar panels at the splash pad that are right there. We've got something with stormwater. I wonder if we might be able to try and install or have kind of a model Florida-friendly like landscaping area somewhere within Riverview Park, that we might be able to have like a planting during Earth Day, where we have maybe examples of each of these initiatives. I don't know if that's
We have a great site for a rain garden in there, but I don't know.
I don't want you to do anything in there just yet.
We're working on
Okay.
the contract for how that's managed right now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We have a
I just
whole
figured
we have a
it's
whole park plan that's coming forward,
Gotcha.
but I haven't presented it to these guys yet,
Gotcha.
so I can't
It's
present
it's
it
a
to
great
you
location.
yet.
There's so many people who see it. It's visible, and I feel like that might be a place where we could even have signs that have our logo, that have Sustainable Sebastian. I can say, you know, want to learn more, and have our website down below, and we kind of put those around the sidewalks as people are walking around and kind of visiting. So it's a great location, I think, to start advertising as well. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, Nikki, you both discussed the River County, but it's a storm drain mural project. You didn't mention that. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Sorry, I just kind of went off that. Yeah. So I had received an email from Alexis Peralta. I've worked quite a bit with her in my educator role, but also she's been doing the chalk drawing contest at Earth Day for years now. But she's been trying to, throughout the county, do a stormwater drain mural program where I forget what the saying was, not like,
No, only rain in the
only
drain.
rain down the drain, yeah. And they're trying to, I mean, murals are popping up everywhere, which I think is really pretty amazing, and I think it beautifies the city. But I think having, an educational as well as a beautification role to this. And I don't know that the city, if we have to officially endorse it, or if it's something that, but it was brought up to me, and I kind of passed it along to you all as an idea. And I think Alexis, if I'm not mistaken, was in charge of everything in terms of budgeting. I think she has materials that are being donated from a location. I think they have artists in mind, at least to set up some of the initial murals.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Nikki, I would just state that, of course, the storm drains are baffle boxes. We have, baffle boxes at the end of all of our presidential streets. Of course, they're city-owned, so you would have to get city approval, obviously. But the chamber, our local chamber has a mural program, and they have just initiated it and are getting it going. I'm sure they'd love to partner with you on that if you're looking for the mural connection.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to bring that up with Alexis. I think she was just looking, I mean, I don't know what role we actually play other than,
We just approve
she's
it,
got
right?
everything. We just have to say, yes, it can happen. Is that pretty much it? And not us,
Probably,
not us as
but
NRB,
no one sitting here can say yes, it can.
Yeah.
I have a green chair. The guy who sits in the green chair has to say yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think it definitely speaks to what we've been trying to do with water quality.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Are you asking Kim and I to bring this forward to him as one of the initiatives, possibly?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless there's any opposition. Okay. Anything else for member matters?
I have a member matter. On the very last page of our handout, there's a note there about, hey, what's next with regard to connectivities of trails, pathways, and maybe do an assessment of crossings and if they need something. So I'm an avid cyclist. So as background, I this summer was in some training to go to an event, a bicycling event, to be clear on cycling. And I think over 13 weeks had put over 1,000 miles just riding in the city of Sebastian through the streets and such. I have a cyclo computer that tracks my miles, so I'm not trying to exaggerate. I have cycled in many events and went to responsible cycling training. I have my motorcycle license. I've been to motorcycling safety programs. I have my pilot's license, and I go to continuing education on safety for pilots. I'm an environmental chemist, a certified environmental analytical chemist, and my background in environmental over time. I've participated in the BP oil spill, other big things, and every day we had tailgate meetings that involved safety. I've come from a safety kind of culture. And as I rode through the streets of Sebastian and was looking at various things, you're kind of on sidewalks and or the side of the road where it's permitted to see what kind of trash is picked up or not picked up. That kind of became more evident to me. But one of the things I wanted to point out was the number of near misses that I had, and the near misses. So when you talk about in safety culture, if you have an accident or an incident, we used to have to track that. And then we also tracked near misses where we thought something could have happened, but you didn't actually injure yourself. Nothing truly happened. But just crossing the road at Main Street and Route 1 at a very, I'm fully outfitted, very clear safety equipment on, bright colors, in the right of way, and someone coming down Main Street heading east, wanting to make a left turn. When they didn't see any kind of traffic that looked like a car, they did not see me. And so there are several near misses. So just pointing that out, maybe that can be part of exactly what was written up here. So that's something for me, looking at sustainable Sebastian as, how it connects here would be that we're trying to promote the downtown area and make it connective. And one of the areas I would think that we would want to have people biking and walking is right in that area, but yet that was consistently, I had 4 incidences right there where I was very close to getting hit at a pretty good clip. So just passing that as a member matters. So I'm certainly thinking as we work toward that last initiative that would be something we're wanting to connect and make safe environment for all. That's it.
That's exactly what the livability factor is that, connectivity and livability, just being comfortable to walk and bike and run in your neighborhood and to have these parks connected with the pathways to do that.
I had one quick thing that I just wanted to bring up, and I know that we can't really discuss it, but I wanted to just let everyone know in the public forum that I have some family issues that are going on, and so I don't feel that I am the right person to be the chairperson at this point in time going forward. And I still want to be on the Natural Resources Board. I very much believe in what we're doing and our goal. I just don't know that I can be there for every single event as I think a chairperson should. So I notified Kim, and she had said that we have to have, it has to be on the agenda. We have to be able to put it as an action item. But I just wanted to let everyone know so that if you're interested or thinking about it, that you have that time to kind of mull that over before our next meeting. So. Any other?
If I can comment on that, I've learned a lot from you being on this board since you've been the president here, and you've taught me a lot.
Thanks.
That's all I got to say.
Appreciate it. Okay. Any other member matters? Okay. So with that, the items for the next agenda, we talked about the launch plan. We have the voting for the new chairperson. Is there anything else in addition to? Okay. All right, then I will motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we are, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.